Howdy. We're trying out a new look here. I'm kinda sick of looking at this guy, aren't you? In the last two Mario games, Nintendo has really gone all out on making alts for characters. And by alts, I mean hundreds of separate characters that happen to be the same person in different clothes. In the Mario Kart game I'm conceptualizing, I would like for costumes to return, except I would actually make them alts instead of this. We're gonna aim for 3 costumes per character because I am one guy and I have 35 characters on this roster. Speaking of this roster, wow, all of these drawings are really outdated. This little series is also gonna help me update all these character icons to make them look less bad. And to make this a little bit more interesting, most of these costumes are fully original, so you could call this ideas for costumes they could add to World. For costumes that do already exist, I tried to change them up a little bit so that it's like all new content. Yippee. Before we get into it, did you know that only 3.5% of people who watch my videos are from Canada?
Oh, hey dude, this is my uncle.
Hey, it's me, Mario.
So it turns out Mario is actually one of the hardest characters to cover for this. Some might call him the main character of the franchise, and as such, he gets hundreds of different outfits and appearances. So only one of his costumes is fully new. Starting off, of course we have classic Mario. He has his iconic weird cap, ugly mustache, huge nose, weak arms, belly fat. For his first costume, I decided on Squirrel Mario. He has yet to make an appearance in Mario Kart, or any spin-off from what I know, and honestly, he's just my favorite power-up design-wise. It's my YouTube video, and I get to choose the silly animal costumes. I changed up the colors a little bit, going for a more desaturated look, so he looks more different from classic Mario. I also added stripes on his overalls. I think they help out with making this seem more like a different outfit instead of just a power-up, if that makes sense. I've also tried to take more inspiration from the animals that some power-ups are based on to give it more of a unique look. They kind of got all the details of a flying squirrel here, but I did notice the Waddle Wing has like a really noticeable bright pink nose and decided to incorporate it into Mario's face. Mario's only fully original costume is his steampunk alt. I think it's a cool aesthetic, and it's the first one I could think of that hadn't already been done. Honestly, he has a lot of costumes. I went with this dark color palette and made sure to leave oil stains everywhere since bro is probably working on some gadgets and doohickeys. He has gold buttons on his shirt and then also his gloves and boots, which I exaggerated a little bit to better fit the steampunk look. Finally, I added a few gears on his vest to fully give off that steampunk vibe. Something else I'm doing with all these characters is changing up the hairstyle whenever I can, and makeup in some cases. On this costume, Mario's hair is longer and he's wearing some eyeliner. I think this design screams Spirit Halloween Steampunk Isle, so I'd call it a success. Not sure if this is controversial or not, but the last alt is Metal Mario. I just think he's neat, okay? The biggest case I've seen against Metal Mario being an alt is that he is metal, and therefore not the same weight as Mario. My counterpoint to that is I don't care. The character select screen already lacks a stat menu, so I don't see why alts can't have different weights and such. But yep, this is Metal Mario, alright. Metal me, and wahoo, or whatever. Now I did say only 3 alts total for each character, but it's Mario. You know he has to get some kind of special treatment. As a 100% completion reward for this game, you would unlock King Mario. He's already been in a Mario Kart game, but I think he works really well as a trophy character instead of like Gold Mario. Oh, he's here too, I guess. I figured why not. It's just a Metal Mario recolor, and he's not hurting anyone being here. Probably. Going back to King Mario, I changed the gems on his crown to be the colors of the rainbow. I also curled his mustache some to make him look more cartoonishly fancy. And that's all my alts for Mr. Mario. I also want to show off the first 4 designs I came up with. I was going for a more goofy look here, but then when I drew the princesses, they did not fit in at all. I'm also just not the biggest fan of the ones I drew after I look back at them. I had also drawn King Mario and Gold Mario, but I accidentally deleted them, so now they're lost media, I guess.
Oh my god!
Up next, we got Luigi, the green one. I've always been a huge fan of his color palette in Super Mario World. I think the purple looks great, and it differentiates him from Mario more. I'd love if they brought these colors back in a modern rendition of Luigi, maybe just less saturated. But a lot of ideas were going through my head for Luigi. When I was showing off my Luigi casino track, you can see him wearing a bow tie here because I originally planned on him having a casino alt to reference the minigames from DS. I also want to take inspiration from the minigames in Luigi's Mansion 3. I discovered this guy, and oh my god, I love the name Luigi so much. I think this look and the casino outfit would be too similar, so I decided to scrap Casino Luigi and make Luigi more flashy, settling on this. I kept his amazing hair and green jacket, then added a more 70s disco look to it, with this bright orange button up, shoes, and star glasses. He's rocking this handlebar stash, as well as the golden necklace. Next I wanted to give Luigi an animal alt, but the idea of Tuxedo Luigi was still in my head, and then I found the perfect opportunity to fuse these ideas together. The Tuxedo Penguin. Here we have a redesigned Penguin Luigi, or as I like to call him, Tuxedo Pinguigi. I kind of hate how the penguin suits look, so I thought it'd be fun to redesign it. His color palette reflects that of a tuxedo penguin, and then I added a little bow tie and buttons here. I really like when power-ups will change species depending on the character, so I'd love to see that idea get expanded to other animal power-ups. We already have an alt based on Luigi's mansion, but it's not exactly spooky, unless you're scared of this. If you panic at the disco. I wanted to give Luigi an alt that might tingle some spines, but not Gooigi because, here we have Ragdoll Luigi. I made this costume to kind of serve as a metaphor for the repressed feeling Luigi has, living his entire life in his brother's shadow. He just kind of feels like a doormat or a doll for people to play with however they want. No, I just think he looks cool as fuck. He has a patchwork design all over and stitch lines going across several parts of his body and hat, and then applied design on his overalls. I also gave him more doll-like shoes instead of his usual boots. Luigi also had to be redrawn since I originally used the more cartoonish style on him. I still loved all these ideas though, so nothing changed besides proportions and stuff.
Thank you, Super Mario Bros. It seems like the only thing you haven't drained is my bank account.
Guys, I've got to be honest for a second. I hate trolling women. If you look through all of my art, you will find maybe 5 women in there. It might have something to do with my fascination in men. I don't really know. So I was a little worried about the fact that I set myself up to draw 16 women. Are you for real? I actually enjoyed it and had fun. This definitely pushed me out of my comfort zone and got me to learn female anatomy a little bit. That being said, Peach was my least favorite of the princesses to draw. I don't really like her at all. And this pose I picked out had this fuck-ass hand in the back that I had to draw 4 times, and I was this close to putting a giant rock or something in the foreground. Anyways, I like how in Mario Kart World they made the biker outfits a costume, so I brought that over here. Peach's first 2 costumes were just her classic biker alts. On Biker Peach, I added some pink hair dye to the back and some hot pink eyeshadow for her to wear. I knew I had to take inspiration from Princess Peach Showtime for at least one of these, and I decided to go with Baker Peach. This design is basically 1 for 1, except I added some little glasses right here, some blush, and then I dyed her hair. This is a little reference to her original color palette, and more specifically her design in the old Mario cartoons. I put out my character roster over a year ago, and the plan was for one of these secret special characters to be Princess Toadstool, using a design that was basically just her from the show. I'm not the biggest fan of this idea anymore, so I decided to just incorporate it some here instead of dedicating a whole character slot to a Peach alt. Our last costume for Peach is the Toadstool Fairy. Daisy had a fairy costume in Mario Kart Tour, but I wanted to go for a different look and then give it to Peach instead. I figured a forest fairy associated with toadstools would be a cute reference to Peach's original name. I don't know if she still goes by it. I haven't heard that name in years. I believe the first thing that stands out about this design is her toadstool hat. I love the idea of a small fairy wearing a mushroom cap on her head. The next thing you probably notice is her featuring some beautiful wings in the back. You can't really have a fairy design without them. I also decided that she shouldn't be wearing a dress. I wanted her to have 2 dress alts and 2 non-dress alts. And while I was originally going to try to stay away from skirts, I just liked the fairy design idea too much to scrap. And skirts were too iconic to that look. This is by far my favorite alt I made for Peach, mostly because I like the design. But this skirt gave me the perfect excuse to hide her hand, and I physically rejoiced when I found a way to avoid drawing that a 4th time. That's all our Peach alts. I would have liked to have more color variety, but I figured I'd let it pass here since pink is pretty iconic to Peach's design. It's pretty rare to see her in other colors. Fun fact about Daisy, she wears the color orange. Moving on to her second alt, which I've called Sporty Daisy. This is based on her first appearance ever in Mario Tennis. I figured the different hair and jewelry as well as a skirt instead of a dress will make for a nice alternate outfit. Up next we have Rockstar Daisy. I wanted to give one of the princesses a punkish alt, and I figured Daisy would be the most fitting since she's, you know, loud. I can see the argument being made for Pauline as well, but I just lean more towards Daisy. Maybe they could start a band together. I gave her really messy hair and originally had it dyed blue at the bottom, but I didn't really like how it looked, so I made it orange instead. She's wearing a leather vest and pants, and then I gave her some rockstar-like makeup and these spiky bracelets. Our last costume for Daisy is a mermaid alt. I gave her lighter hair with highlights and replaced her crown with one made of coral. I also felt a little weird doing the whole seashell bra thing, but I mean, the Little Mermaid did it, so I guess it works here too. As a kid, I was stupid. Like really dumb, stupid, idiot, pea-brained, boy pants little dummy stupid. I had no idea you could unlock stuff in Mario Kart Wii. By the time I learned that was a thing, I was using a 3DS instead of a Wii. So I just didn't know about the other 60% of Mario Kart Wii I never played. When I learned that Luma would float around you in this game, I thought that was so cool, and then they just never brought it back. So obviously I had to do that myself. Luma would be included whenever you play as Rosalina, and he even gets his own little costumes to match her. Rosalina's second alt is the Aurora outfit. This dress is so beautiful and also so confusing to draw. It'd be a crime if it ever gets cut. Why do you think it was one of the like 3 tour costumes to get ported to the world? I also changed her wand to be shaped like a diamond to match the little ones in her hair. Luma gets a color change with this gradient to match Rosalina's dress, and will leave a little trail behind whenever he moves. For her first original alt, we have Martian Rosalina. I think it'd be fun to give her more space-related alts, portraying her in another way that isn't just the space mom. She has 2 antennae up here, and a whole astronaut outfit to complete the look. I changed her wand to be a warp star just to make it look more spacey, and also because I couldn't really think of anything else. Why not a UFO, you may ask? Shut up. Well, that's because Luma's already driving one. This is my favorite thing ever. Rosalina's final costume is a TV host outfit. She has her hair and makeup done all fancy and a nice purple tuxedo to go with it. I originally just had this be a tuxedo alt because I think she would slay in it, but then I figured a TV host would just be that with some extra spice. Her wand is now a microphone, and Luma has a headset so they can be her little TV crew. And there's all of Rosalina's alts. Definitely a contender for my favorite batch. Finally, we have Pauline. You know how I said earlier that I hate drawing women? She's the exception. I love Pauline. For her main form, I went with her design from Odyssey. It's basically just her usual attire, but with a cool hat. I'm not really sure why I don't use this design more often. Her first costume is Western Pauline. This alt wasn't tour, but I changed it up a little bit to make it look more like Western cowboy and less modern Southern girly. Most of this is just desaturating some colors, and then I changed the vest from yellow to brown, and also added some tassels. The heart on her belt has been replaced by her icon, and I changed her bandana from pink to yellow. I did a lasso and patch to her jeans, as well as putting her hair in a ponytail, and that's Western Pauline. Up next is Hippie Pauline. My boyfriend who knows nothing about Mario gave me this idea, and I thought it was perfect, so shout out to him. I gave her a flower headband and bandana, and then those classic colored glasses. I think it'd be pretty neat if she had some kind of effects during her tricks that were all tie-dye and rainbow colored, to fully complete that hippie vibe. On to her last alt, which I've called Katrina Pauline. What is Katrina, you might be wondering? I'm glad you asked because I did a lot of research to make sure this is authentic and not just a Walmart Halloween costume. Dia de los Muertos is a holiday mostly celebrated in Mexico. It's about recognizing and paying respect to friends and family who have passed on, and viewing death as a continuation of life instead of an ending. Despite how sad it may sound, it's a very happy and celebration-filled holiday. La Catrina is the main symbol for Day of the Dead. She was an art piece made by Jose Posada in the late 1800s. Her large hat and skeleton body was made to poke fun at the rich, reminding them that they too will die someday, and I love that so much. The extravagant clothing and skeleton makeup have become an iconic look for Day of the Dead, and while it is a part of the holiday, it's not the main focus. That mostly comes from the commercialization of the holiday, which I really did not want to encourage with this design, which is why I'm telling you all of this. Dia de los Muertos is such a dope holiday to me, not just because of the art, but because of the meaning of it. Death can be super scary, and I think it's beautiful to celebrate it and see it as a continuation of life. Remembering those who moved on to the next step and celebrating with those who are still with you. So back to Mario Kart, we've got Pauline wearing a super colorful dress filled with flowers and sugar skulls. Those skulls being based on dry bones and the Toasterinians, or whatever these guys are called. I've seen a lot of cool concepts for a Sugar Skull Dry Bones costume, since Dry Bones Burnout takes inspiration from Day of the Dead. Since Dry Bones is in the group of characters that probably won't get costumes, I think this would be a pretty neat way to still incorporate that idea into the game. Also yes, I am still mad that Pauline only got one costume, and it's just her biker alt. Anyway, I replaced her golden bracelet with one made of flowers, and I gave her a colorful skull face paint. This outfit was really fun to make, and I got to learn a lot of cool stuff about Day of the Dead while making it. I've always been fond of that holiday, but it was neat to learn more stuff about it. And with that, all our costumes in this video are complete. It was nice to take a break from track design for a bit, and just draw some cool characters and outfits. I feel like this really pushed me to grow with my art. I'll hopefully get back to some track design stuff soon, but I'm having fun branching out to new stuff. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to, consider supporting me on Ko-Fi. You can commission me there, or you can join my Discord server to talk if you want. Hope you have a great rest of your day/night, and I love you.